This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shashina Roll. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news: an appeal by the president of the Grande Bahama Port Authority for a more relaxed immigration policy to spur economic development in Freeport is sparking a lively debate among some in the business sector. Tonight, a local attorney is weighing in, and she says any such change must work to the benefit of Bahamians. Economic citizenship is a concept that attorney Constance McDonald says has been around for a while. In referring to the president of the Grande Bahama Port Authority's plea for a change in the immigration policy, she says while foreign direct investment is important to any economy, there is one sector that is also just as significant.
I think the Bahamian middle class is disadvantaged when it comes to the comparison as to what benefits they get as to what benefits the foreign investors get. I mean, you cannot grow your economy without a good, solid middle class. And when I look around, and what I'm seeing is that the owners of the small and the medium-sized businesses get no incentives, no nothing. Whereas the foreign investor comes in here, he gets exemption from almost everything. And I think that's doing it backwards.
The Grande Bahama Port Authority believes that tweaking the immigration policy to allow investors spending over $500,000 automatic permanent residency and the ability to work freely can be a benefit to the entire Bahamas. While McDonald believes that economic citizenship can indeed boost the economy, she says once investors are given special incentives, the end result should be all about Bahamians.
If they're going to be in and they're going to be getting benefits, then we must have a trade-off. And nobody should come in here and believe that they can just come in here and set up shop and make money and send it out to Bahamas. No. They got to come in here. If you're saying they're going to have people employed, they must train the people. And then there must be some checks to make sure that's being done. You see? And then we want to see the development. See, so it has to be hand in hand with a training package so that at the end of the day, you'll have a win-win situation as opposed to a win-loss situation.
As the Grande Bahama Port Authority seek ways to boost the economy of Freeport, they say one major challenge is the length of time to approve foreign transactions.
So yes, the process is too long, and the government needs to seriously look at that. There's no need. Once you set your guidelines and the people have to bring in certain documentation, there's absolutely no reason why it has to take long.
She says if this does not change, then Bahamians may lose out.
Either the project is going to fly or you turn them down, and then that gives another person an opportunity to come in with a project. You see, because if the projects are good and then Bahamians will be employed, that's good. But if it isn't going to be that way, then, stop wasting time. And don't have people just hanging in limbo.
Well, the newly appointed committee assembled to review portions of the Hawksbill Creek Agreement has an 8-week timeline to complete a report for the government. Now, among those who have taken up the challenge is a leading female barrister at law. Joan Davis-Roll reports.
We have this youthful young lady, Cassietta McIntosh, who would bring her youthfulness and her in-touch connectivity with young people, really, whose future we are talking about securing through the work we do.
She's a female and she has youth on her side. For the nation's leader, the Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Perry Christie, this is considered a winning combination, as he expressed confidence in her appointment to the special committee. This new body has been mandated by the government to examine portions of the Hawksbill Creek Agreement, which are set to expire in August of this year. That woman is local attorney Cassietta McIntosh.
First of all, let me say that I was very honored to be chosen to be a part of the committee, and I'm excited to go forward in this process. I think we have arrived at a pivotal time in the economy of Grande Bahama, in which we have to take this process very seriously and take all of the stakeholders' views and opinions in the context so that we can come up with a practical way for Grande Bahama to retrieve that magic that I'm told once existed.
McIntosh says that this northern island has a rich history, and the role its founders, together with the Grande Bahama Port Authority, have played for decades has been significant. Realizing that she will not only sit among learned men many years her senior, her impact in bridging the gap with the former and present generation, she says, will be exciting.
Persons are not they don't lack in telling you what it used to be like. And then having been exposed to different countries, different cultures. We are able now to see how we can move forward in a positive light. And from the youth aspect of it, or from the next generation, we have a lot to say. And I'm hoping that they will talk to me and I can bring that out and we can try to make that a successful marriage that's going to end in the benefit of all Bahamian people, especially in Grand Bahama.
Joan Davis Roll, ZNS Network News.
Members of the Constitutional Commission taking the educational campaign to 8 Mile Rock last night. The commission has been traveling throughout the country, educating Bahamians on the proposed bills on gender equality. Kimberly Mullings was there.
Members of the Constitutional Commission made their way to Grand Bahama Thursday evening to begin informing various communities about the 4 proposed amendments to the Bahamas' Constitution, one of the highest-ranking documents in the land. Justice Ruby Nottage, co-chair of the Public Education Program, says seeing Bahamians throughout the country involved in modernizing this 41-year-old document speaks volumes about change.
And we've obviously not really felt comfortable about changing it. That doesn't say that we're wrong, but it also means that we haven't been proactive. When the time is right, we move. But before that, we're probably content to work our way through our difficulties. I don't know that we're waiting or willing to wait much longer.
Former Cabinet Minister Teresa Moxley Ingram, Public Education Program co-chair, notes that she is pleased to see Bahamians express interest in amending the Constitution, especially for generations to come.
Every community that we have gone to, there have been people whose story of misplaced citizenship, people whose story of their children not being able to access citizenship or their spouses not being able to access citizenship. We've met people like that and they've said, at last it looks as if this matter is going to be cleared up.
These 4 bills represent the first round of constitutional reform, which share something in common: the need to institute full equality between men and women in matters of citizenship and to eliminate discrimination based on sex, be it male or female. Literacy is one of the challenges Moxie Ingram has seen while traveling the archipelago. However, she's hopeful. The Bahamas is still very young and growing pains are expected.
It leaves me concerned about our willingness to accept a piece of propaganda without examining the issues, without examining the messengers, without examining what the intended message is. That concerns me.
8 Mile Rock native, now Constitutional Commission member, Brandis Duncanson says that the response from Bahamians concerning our Constitution has been favorable. She is pleased to see and hear such positive feedback.
Before, it was a bit tricky, getting persons to understand. And what we did, we sort of tweaked our method a bit. And like I said, we got the audience to participate. And at the end of each session, people say the same thing. Oh, now I finally understand it, So what's all the fuss about on the talk shows? That's it. That's what it's all about, And so it's been very positive, very encouraging.
Now that Bahamians understand the Constitution with the help of the Commission, it is the government's hope that the 4 proposed amendments and any future ones come to fruition for people by the Bahamian people. Kimberly Mullings, ZNS Network News.
Thanks, Kimberly. Well, this morning, members of the commission held an educational session at the Sir Charles Hayward Library where members brought 12th grade students up to date on the proposed changes. Italia Hall was there.
The Constitutional Commission met with students from various high schools on the island to educate and clarify any misconceptions students may have on the 4 proposed constitutional bills. Co-chair for the Public Education Committee of the Constitutional Commission, former Justice Ruby Nottage says she is honored to be able to discuss such an important issue with the nation's future leaders.
Some of these children are 17, going to be 18. Some of them actually are 18 and will be voters, hopefully, in the next election or referendum. And so it's important that our young people get to know the facts about these 4 bills. I see a format that should be repeated all through the country. In other words, I'm going to take this back to Nassau. I think we need to speak with the students in Nassau as well. And so Freeport will be on the map historically as the group that started this motion to really begin to speak to our young citizens and to get them informed.
It was an interactive session for students and teachers. They say it was an educational experience.
I think it's very helpful because even us as adults, sometimes I know in the staff room, we have arguments about who is a citizen of the Bahamas and citizenry. And I think one of the subtle issues of citizenry that's not even known by adults is the issue of how citizenship is passed on to children in the Bahamas.
This experience is very helpful because now, as the future female voters of the Bahamas, we now know the power and the rights we have, that we can pass our own citizenship to our children, and that was not the case before. And coming from the home of a foreigner and a Bahamian, it's great to know that everything is different for me than when it was for my mother.
The educational session with teachers and students taking place at the Sir Charles Hayward Library. Reporting for ZNS Network News, I'm Natalia Hall.
In other news, it's been 4 months since the fatal plane crash that killed prominent pastor Dr. Miles Monroe, his wife, and 7 other persons. An investigation into the tragedy wrapped up last month and identified pilot error as the probable cause of the fatal plane crash. Tonight, a relative of the Monroes is talking about this development and the impact it is having on the grieving families.
Dr. Freeman Lockhart is the brother of Ruth Ann Monroe and brother-in-law of Dr. Miles Monroe and Pastor Richard Pinder, 3 of the victims of that deadly plane crash back on November 9th. Dr. Lockhart thanking the community for its continued prayers and support over the past 4 months. He says while everyone is coping, it is something that will never go away and they just have to deal with it.
It still seems so surreal, and it's still something that we are trying to grapple with and come to terms with. And I think part of it too is because of the image and the stature they were in the community. You're constantly reminded of it by persons. They mean well, everyone means well, and I don't want to discourage it, but persons are constantly asking and reminding simply because of their stature and station in our community.
Lockhart says he remains in contact with the children of Dr. Miles and Ruth Monroe and Pastor Richard Pinder. In fact, he believes that the crash on November 9th has brought them closer together.
You make an effort to see others, when, had you gone to Nassau early on, I may not have seen. Now if I go, I make the effort to see everybody, And so it brings your family, you appreciate your family that much more.
A recent report by the Civil Aviation Department identified poor decision-making by the pilot crew as the reason for the plane going down at the rear of the Grand Bahama shipyard. But Dr. Lockhart says the family isn't dwelling on that report.
The investigators do what they have to do, present the facts as they see it, as they find it. But, at the end of the day, nothing changes. We still pretty much have to move on.
Dr. Lockhart says the family, including members of Bahamas Faith Ministries, are now preparing to travel to Israel. It is an annual trip for the church family for the past 30 years. But this year, the government of Israel will hold a special tree planting ceremony that will honor the legacy of Dr. Miles and Ruth Monroe.
They are being recognized in Israel by the Israeli government and also the religious leaders over in Israel. They are going to have a tree planting, a planting of a tree on their, in their memory. And the family, as many as the family, that is the immediate family and also the church family, is making an effort of getting over there.
Dr. Freeman Lockhart says the family, including the members of Bahamas Faith Ministries, are grateful for the support of the public. He is asking for their continued prayers. Megan Shepard, ZNS Network News.
Stay with us. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition continues right after this.
Bringing news that matters to you. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Welcome back. This weekend, residents on Grand Bahama will have the opportunity to receive free financial and legal advice. The Rotary Club of Freeport is hosting its annual clinic, and persons seeking consultation on legal cases like immigration, divorce, adoption, civil matters, or criminal litigation are asked to attend. Attorney Constance McDonald says any documentation that can assist with clearing up questions should also be brought in.
For instance, if you were in an accident and there are things that we might need. And also, like, suppose there's a will and you're not sure what should have been happening. Or if you have a piece of property and you want to know, or your grandmother died, your grandfather died, and there's land left in Exomer, in Freeport, whatever. The more information that we have, the better position we'll be in to advise you. If you were dismissed from your employment and you have a letter of dismissal, we would need to see the letter in order to see whether you have a cause of action against your employer. And so the more information you can give, the better advice you can receive.
The president of the Rotary Club of Freeport, Queen Bowl, says this is an opportunity residents should take advantage of.
Freeport Club in particular has been doing the legal clinic for the last 5-6 years. I am not sure the community takes advantage of it to the extent that they should. Like has previously been mentioned, these are some difficult times and legal fees are usually exorbitant. People are barely making it, but they still have issues. And so I want to take this time to encourage persons to come out. You may have an adoption case, a divorce case, whatever the situation is, maybe a job situation, employee work relations. Come out and seek the advice from these experts who will be able to guide you.
Now, the Freeport Clinic will be held at the free clinic, will be held at the Circle Mall tomorrow from 9:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. And they have been making the rounds at the various schools on Grande Bahama this week, adding a bit of fun and excitement for all on campus. Megan Shepard explains.
The circus is in town and they brought all of their best performances with them. David Wallace says it's an annual event that just keeps on getting better.
This family-filled event, which is staged in Freeport for this week, will go to Nassau the week of April the 20th through the 25th. And so again, I wish to thank the many sponsors who are touching the hearts of the children and putting a smile on their faces by allowing them to see the circus. And I want to thank the many families who have no doubt contributed to their children coming. Every year, Soft Touch Production gives away in excess of some $20,000 to the schools who participate because a portion of the funds is kept by the schools.
The Grande Circus magicians performing the classic trick. Wallace says the circus plans to make its rounds throughout the northern Bahamas. Megan Shepard, ZNS Network News.
Very cool, Megan. Thanks. And he's the biggest clown I know, and he's up next with a check on sports.
Everybody, it's time for sports. I'm Ricardo Lightborn. This one goes out to our folks down there in Turks and Caicos. Hey, you guys, behave yourself this weekend. Here we go, folks. The Grande Bahama High School Track and Field Championships, Day 5, now completed at the Plex. Let's go courtside and get you up to date on what happened earlier. The 400-meter hurdles on the track under 17 boys and a clean start. The final 100 meters, lane 8, Mary Star, the Sea Crusaders, Malik Stewart bringing it home. 58.06 seconds. Byron Wilson right there for St. George's for second place, and third was Lamar Morris.
It was hard because I was coming with lane 8, but I just had to get out. And once I knew how to get out, I see competition coming, I had to run out of.
Congrats to the under 17 boys hurdle champions. Now let's go to the 20 boys 400-meter hurdles. This one was a time finals. VMEF Malcolm Demerit will win Heat 1 running away. Heat 2 under 20 boys hurdles, Tabernacle Julian Brown posting 56.30 seconds and secured the gold.
My race is very good. I thought I'd hit the last hurdle because I was low over it. But then I got over it. I came to the finish line.
A 1-2 finish for the Tabernacle Falcons and some big points. Also on the track, the 800 meters under 17 girls. This was an all Bishop Michael Eldon race. The boys under 17 race, another crowd pleaser. This one will go down to the wire, and 10 points for Tabby. The girls' 800 meters in the under 20 division was a statement event for the Warriors. Denise Gibson, she put in a pretty good time, but 2 minutes and 3 seconds, just short of Carifta qualifying.
I feel really good. I have a couple more days to make it better, but I feel good.
Let's go down to 20 boys 800 meters, and this was a sprint to the finish. Watch Jack Haywood Wildcats. Isaiah Thompson used his strength to fight off the field. He will nip Robinson and Richardson at the tape for the goal.
Well, it was a tough race in the beginning. Almost got jammed, but I made it through at the last lap.
These are under 20 boys 800 meter champions, and well deserved. And also right now, Tabernacle leads the senior division with 351 points. St. George's has 300, Jack Haywood 206.5. Now, as far as Jack Haywood Jr., they lead that division with 251 points. Sister Mary Patricia has 223. Igma Roca 155.5. They'll be on the track tomorrow at 12 noon. And Tarif College is having a fun run walk tomorrow morning at 6:30 start of the school. Also, Terrence Archer and Frederica Thomas. They're urging all of you road warriors to come out and walk tomorrow.
All persons are invited to come. Kids, students of Tarif College, students of any other institutions in the country, all is invited. And so we want to make it a fun, full event. If you can't run, walk.
We just expect everyone to come out and have fun. After the event, there'll be nurses here to take blood pressure and advise you on your health.
Now, let me tell you, the proceeds from this will be going to the Lupus Local Foundation here and also the Cancer Society of the Bahamas Grand Bahama Branch. And you can go by Nios Grace, that's on West Atlantic. And make sure you guys go check it out and walk tomorrow. I try to get Quincy to walk. Dr. Brown, Quincy, let's walk. That's sports.